Hi guys, I don't know if the media run these stories with the goal of turning people against the rich, or they really do think there's some sort of entertainment to be found in somebody spending £600 per head for a Christmas lunch. Sky News interviewed a journalist here from the Sunday Times who went into some of the juicy details about how the mega rich spend their Christmases. And this is at a time when there's a record level of wealth inequality. Sickening stuff. Have a listen to this.
It might sound crackers, but while most of us will spend around £400 on Christmas, wealthier folk could well splash £650 a head just on a turkey lunch at the Ritz. That's according to accountants at PricewaterhouseCoopers, as personal advisors to the super rich report that since COVID, many have upped their spending during the festive season by more than 30%. Well, joining me now is Rupert Neat, a journalist from the Sunday Times. Good to have you on the show, Rupert. You've written about this for the paper. What are the most extreme ways, then, that the super rich are spending their cash this Christmas?
Well, how much do you think you'd spend on a bauble? They're spending 1,080 on 6 baubles, but they are cashmere.
So cashmere baubles, 6 for more than £1,000?
Yeah.
Right. And what does that say about the Christmas tree? What sort of tree are people going for if they're spending that much money just on the baubles?
Well, as many trees as possible, it seems to be. Apparently, 6 trees is not unusual, and they fit in quite a few 16-foot trees in those Mayfair houses where they have the swooping staircase. So they want a big tree that fills up that whole space. And you can also, if you don't want to queue up to see Santa and John Lewis, you can get a grotto kind of delivered to your house and get 5 or 6 actors to play Santa and the elves. And they'll sort of do homework with Santa so that he knows all your kids' names and where you went on holiday and what Christmas presents they want.
Yes, I guess you'd have to use actors because the real Santa obviously is going to be busy, isn't he, in the run-up to Christmas preparing.
I don't think the real Santa would do it, he doesn't work extra hard for more cash for rich people, does he?
How much would it cost then to have a whole grotto built in your house? Are people really doing that?
Apparently, it's an actual big trend. I'd never heard of it before, but it can cost up to 10 grand.
That's incredible, isn't it? And what about if you're not choosing to spend Christmas Day itself at home, if you want to go and stay somewhere fancy? What are the options there?
Well, there is still some space. If you fancy Christmas night at the Ritz, you can get a suite there for £5,994. And I'm told by the Ritz that some families have booked out a whole floor and then they can knock through suites together. So they have 6 interconnected suites and they'll stay there for 5 nights at £6 grand a room.
That's incredible, isn't it? And does that include lunch? Surely that includes lunch.
It doesn't include lunch.
It doesn't.
Lunch is 650 quid per head extra. Even if you're 16, it's also 650 quid. If you're 16, 17, 18. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, it is.
Okay. This, as I said, at a time when there is record wealth inequality. And these people will say, no, don't tax us because if you do, we'll leave the country. Don't tax us because we're wealth creators. And they're spending £5,000 per night for a suite in the Ritz, and they're spending 650 quid a head for a frigging lunch. Something has to change, guys. Something has to dramatically change. I covered it last week, a story where there's homelessness, a record number of people who are sleeping on the streets because they can't access housing, because the price of housing has gone through the roof, no pun intended. People can't access housing. There's a record number of people accessing food banks because even if they're working, they're not earning enough to feed their families. And somebody is spending 650 quid on a lunch per head and private grottos. So instead of actually going to meet with the great unwashed, you don't have to go into the city centre. No, you can get Santa Claus to come to you. Not the real guy, of course. This is... The rich like to rub people's noses in it, don't they? And they constantly say, no, don't tax us anymore because, we're the wealth creators. Don't tax us anymore because we'll move out of the country. Something has to change. The situation is at fever pitch. If something does not change, we'll probably end up seeing some sort of revolution taking place, because you can't constantly extract more from the poorest in society, run them into the ground even further, take away their benefits, their entitlements, take away their public services, and at the same time waste money like this. Now, some people may respond and say, well, that's their money. Well, in a sense, no, it's not. Because in order to become a billionaire, and we're probably talking about multimillionaires and billionaires here, somebody else is doing the graft, somebody else is doing the heavy lifting, and you're benefiting from that. Once again, I don't know if the goal here of this story is to make people angry or to engage in some sort of entertainment. I think most people listening to stuff like this will be angry, and they should be. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what do you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.